You meet James Marsden. I don't really like Sonic.
I was not expecting to see anybody I knew there, let alone somebody famous. I also didn't live in LA at the time. So I came from Oregon, moved to San Diego. Like, we didn't have celebrities in Oregon. Like, that was never something you did. Even when I moved to San Diego, it was never like, oh, this is the hot spot to go see this A-lister or whatever. Like, that was never really on the table. So I was not expecting to see him. I had to Google him. I was like, oh, shit, that's who this is.
Yeah, they caught that on frame. Like, we saw that, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like kind of like looked up and...
Oh, yeah, no, I was literally like, oh, yeah, I was Googling. I was like, yeah, that's who that is.
Yeah, but it goes to say that even people, and this is a lesson to people even in relationships, is that just be honest with each other. You didn't know
Couldn't
this.
agree more. I wasn't gonna lie to him. I had heard negative things about Sonic. I had seen. I had heard bad reviews.
You're like
so.
tripling down now. You're like, no, but it's true. I heard bad.
I did though, But yes, I watched it afterwards.
Right.
It was a good movie. I liked it.
Yeah, it's
but
a
I did not
laid-back-
hear good things.
You're like, well, Ben Schwartz is in it. Why didn't you tell me that, James?
Lead with that.
Right. Start with Jim Carrey. Yeah. Isn't it crazy, really, to look back? It's been a few years now, right? 3 or so years?
So we actually filmed in 2022.
But you reflect back and be like, you were technically in a version of The Office?
I actually agreed to be a part of it thinking that nobody would see it. I had never been on camera before. Outside of, back when we were kids, you make the Jackass home videos because we wanted to do that. But
Right.
I had never been on camera before. So I didn't think anything would come of it. And that's why I was comfortable with doing it. I was like, who's going to watch an informational, educational documentary about jury duty?
We put together that video recently of his hike. Kevin has a hiking show, and James Marsden was on it. And he was saying that he didn't think that there would be a whole massive following around it. And then you commented, you're like, yeah, you neither.
I'm from a very small mountain town, so we were very secluded, kind of just sheltered, I guess, if you will. There wasn't a whole lot of diversity, not a lot of opportunity. So I really just wanted to say yes to life, if you will. Just kind of like if an opportunity's there, like, why not? Try it. Go explore it. If you don't like it, you'll never know until you do. So it's very crazy that, yes, it's turned my life completely upside down for the best, but, like, it never would have guessed this. Moving down to San Diego, this was never my intention. I wanted to enjoy the sun, get some beach time. Never would have imagined this would have happened.
The relationships that you have now, I imagine you're still friendly with a few people that you filmed with. So
all of them.
how it brings people into your life.
If nothing would have came from jury duty, if I would have just got the money that they paid me, those friendships, that would have been enough.
And also, how good of a friend you are. Didn't you take the credit for a massive shit that apparently was, well, it's obviously staged, but you didn't know that.
It's
James,
It seemed like it was such an easy thing to do. It's like, did I want to? No. But it's like, here, in my eyes, all I saw was just like somebody who was just embarrassed. It's just a human moment. He was a little bit embarrassed. He's like, think you could help me out? It's like, that's an easy thing.
When you guys were filming, at that point, you didn't really warm up to him completely, right? Because that was part of the bit where he wasn't really James as you know him, as a really kind, down-to-earth guy. He was a bit abrupt. He was very Hollywood. So you still took the credit for that dump when you weren't yet necessarily completely, truly warmed up to him in that character, were you not? Like, it's kind of interesting.
Our relationship was an ebb and flow, but it was intentionally done like that because obviously he had to be, James Marsden, the character, but then they also needed me to interact with him. So when they would see me physically pull away from this guy and distance myself from him, that's when he would dial it back. And then we would have a normal conversation. He'd kind of suck me back in. Here comes Hollywood James again, push me back away. So it was this constant ebb and flow. So I was definitely still on the fence. So
yeah. Well, they showed you some behind the scenes where he flips the cake over, and then the behind the scenes was that, he felt like it hit you in the heart, right? Where he felt bad that you was you, because, again, the situation, you had no idea what was going on. So he apologized and then came up with another cake, right?
Yeah.
That was just kind of an example of what you just mentioned. Kind of push away, pull back, push away, pull back. I know you've been asked this question 40 million times in terms of almost being like a detective or like being like Born Identity, right? Like where you walk into a place and you make sure your back's against the wall, that there's no mirrors in case someone's behind there filming you. Like, do you not feel like You're an agent?
I've never thought of it from that lens specifically, but yes, 100%. Even so, for the second season, like they had me meet up with Anthony even, and they did it to us again, you know. But I knew, I called it out in the beginning. I was like, oh, I'm kind of surprised they're not filming right now. And I said it. I was like, I feel like they're filming. And I was looking around because I do exactly what you said. I'm always looking. I'm like, there's an unobstructed mirror. What could potentially be behind that mirror? So like, yeah, I'm definitely scanning the areas that I go into now.
Which is kind of built into what you're used to now. But again, you got a lot of good out of it overall, so I guess it's not a high price to pay.
I'm just trying to be more aware of my surroundings because I already thought I was pretty aware, and then to have all of that happen and then me not get it, like even in my gut, I knew. I was like, something just isn't right, but I just still didn't pick up on it. Yeah. So it's more of just trying to just be more alert, I guess.
Some people had earwigs or like, you know, the buds in their ear giving producer and you know, director notes.
Something that people don't realize, and this is the same thing with season 2 for Anthony's season. I think he was there for 2 weeks in total. Mine was 3 weeks in total of my time. The whole show is, 4 hours? That's half of 1 day out of 3 weeks of the entire time I was there. People don't realize just how much downtime and how boring it really was. Like, they made it like a real court case, like 30 hours of testimony, you know, like this was a very boring experience for me. So yeah, when you see only the highlights, you're like, oh yeah, I would have known immediately. But it's like you said, no, you wouldn't have. Like, these guys are pros at what they do. They did that intentionally.
Did you see the movie The Room?
I don't think so, no.
So James Franco did a version of it where he played the main guy. But basically, they make fun of this classic movie because they show you everything they wouldn't normally show you in a movie. They show you him just walking up a flight of stairs and it takes 10 minutes. So you're basically saying they're not going to show you that. They're going to they're going to show you the highlights. It gives people the impression, like, look at all this chaos. How does this guy not know? But you've even called it out multiple times, and I've spoke about it on multiple interviews, podcasts, where you're like, no, I did say this is like a reality show.
I actually said that multiple times too. But again, any time that, you know, I start catching on, or anytime that Anthony voices anything like that, like they just pull back, you know.
You're cueing them.
Yeah, so it's like if there's any shenanigans they have planned for the rest of the day, that's off the table. No more. Like, that's gone. That'll be tomorrow, the next day. Like, you know, they got to be very careful with how they tread.
Well, you're directing the show.
Essentially,
like literally. So whether through your actions, like nonverbal, or by saying, hey, is this what's going on here? And you're talking to Barb, you're like, Barb, this is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, they get real-time feedback. They've got the earwigs. Producers can give them, oh, say this instead. You know, they can kind of steer them. But yeah, it's real-time. James put it best. He said it was like a high wire act, and I completely agree with that. I think that's the best way to describe it, because one wrong step, you say one wrong thing, and the whole thing can just be gone.
It's almost like one long take, and if they mess up the last 5 minutes, or even 5 seconds of it, you lose.
I had heard that from a couple of the jurors. The day that we were in the deliberation room to wrap everything up, they said that was probably the most nervous they were, just because it was all, because if anybody did anything to mess it up right there, 3 weeks of work is just gone. Just like you said, it's like all of that prolonged shooting for nothing.
Do you watch it back?
No.
No.
God, no. I don't like the sound of my voice. I had no intentions of getting any sort of fame. Like, in my mind, if anything were to come from this, it would have been because I befriended a cameraman or a producer, and then they knew somebody who had something like, oh, Ronald might be good in this, or maybe we'll have, like, that was my best case scenario in my mind. But even then, that was a stretch, because I was like, I'm not really doing this for anything. It was to get the experience. The ad was $5,000, 2 weeks worth of work. The work was participate on a jury and participate in the documentary. Seems pretty simple.
You got an additional $100,000.
Yeah, they chalked on some more money. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, that's public, by the way. It's not like it's not like you texted me that.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, I'm not disclosing. So, and you recently did, or relatively recently did, a mobile campaign with Ryan Reynolds?
So that was back when it first came out, so it has been a little bit.
Okay.
So I've done some more things. I did my exclusive deal with Amazon, which is over now. But during the running of that, I got to do a bunch of different pilot episodes with them. I got to travel to London and do a TV show with Tilly Ramsey, so that was really fun. I've got to do other things like that. So it's been a fantastic experience.
But with someone like Ryan, who's just such a comedic legend, do they just hand you the script? You give some creative, because at that point you're kind of like Hollywood, dude. You're like, no, I would want this changed, this word, this would be more like me. Did you partake?
Ryan could tell, because obviously, like, I was nervous. So actually, I haven't really talked about this. everything happened for me so quickly up until that point that like I didn't have time to process it all. So when I actually was stepping on to set that morning, because I left Manhattan at like 8 a.m. I think we got there at like 9 a.m. and we're getting started. I had like a panic attack when I first walked on there and I saw Ryan standing in front of that green screen. Like everything just kind of hit me for a little bit. So I had to step outside. I had to catch my breath. And I think Ryan could tell that I was just a little anxious because there was the teleprompter, but him and I just kind of just improv'd, if you will. Like the part where he hugged me, like I didn't even know he was going to do that. So we did a couple takes where it was just like that. It's like, here's a script, but if you want to say this or you don't like this, just kind of go with what you're feeling. So I think he could just feel my tension, and that definitely helped relieve it.
What did you do to kind of come back down from the panic?
My management team wasn't able to be there, but somebody who worked at their company lived in the area, so they came by. So I was very grateful that I had somebody there, but we just walked around the block. I had to sit down for a little bit, drink some water. Like I was getting clammy, like I don't know, everything. It was my first time being in New York. I was on like Good Morning America. We had scheduled all these things. I was actually supposed to fly home, and then we got that offer, so we extended the stay. We didn't sign my contract until like 9 or 10 p.m. and then at 8 a.m. I'm driving to Brooklyn to do that. And so everything was so fast. It just kind of caught up to me.
Is it almost just reflexive or almost robotic behavior in the sense of like, okay, this is what I got to do, and it becomes more of a reflex rather than going through each step in your mind, which can almost maybe potentially make it worse, these panic moments?
Yeah, I think overthinking it is what kills a lot of people when it comes to that. And then I definitely just go with the flow. I'm as present as I can be. I try to just take it one step at a time. And when you have a schedule, it's like, okay, you're here, 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 and here. It's like you take care of this one thing at a time, on this one. Next thing you know, the day's over. So more of a reflex, I would say.
Did you chat with James Marsden at all in terms of all the initial press you guys were doing, which is completely justified? You want to push the show a little bit. Did you guys have any kind of conversations in terms of, look, James, this is still relatively new for me. Can you jump in a little bit and I'll jump in the interview when I feel comfortable?
Access Hollywood.
Sure.
That was my very first televised interview ever, and then I did it with James, and I leaned heavily on him, and I told him that when we were getting ready, and I was like, I'm very nervous right now. I don't want to talk too much, and I don't want to like clam up. I was like, so if you could take the lead, and then I'll just jump in when it feels right. Obviously, if they direct a question at me, I'll field it. I was like, but I told him if there's ever like an awkward pause or something, it'd be great if you could kind of fill that gap.
There is processing time, if you want to call it fame or moving from civilian to, a little bit of a celebrity status, which, when someone's on TV, it automatically, you got to be likable, which you were. But then at that point, when you're on TV, it's a funny thing that happens. You're not officially in someone's living room or on their tablet or whatever, they're at. It creates a little bit of a stage. And then in their mind, it's like, oh, this person. Isn't it kind of weird, though, how celebrity works? It's like someone for sure is talented if they're well-liked, but it's also the distance between you two that creates more of that engagement, which is why you have some celebrities who want to be a little more private to create that allure, or like, you don't know me, I'm mysterious.
I don't think they included it because Anthony and I talked for like an hour when we met up. So of course, I didn't watch it back because I don't want to hear it. I don't know if they included it, but I gave him that example. It was with the Denzel Washington talking to Michael B. Jordan, and he essentially told him that same thing. He's like, why would people pay money to go see you at the theater when they can see you online for free every single day? So it's kind of like that allure you're talking about. It's like, don't give everything all at once. You want people to kind of come back. But that is kind of the celebrity aspect of it all, because you want them to pay to come see your stuff. So you can't give it all out for free.
When are you going to start doing stand-up comedy? I feel like you have people that have, made it to a certain degree, or like, hey, how can I get into diversify? How can I start a headphone company? How can I start an alcohol company? How have you thought about doing other potential things that you're good at, but now can extend it off the fact that you were great in the show?
Auditioning for competition game shows, because I do. Just like we were talking about earlier, it's not that I think I could do better than other people, but I would love to give it a shot just to try. So I'm definitely branching into that world. Stand-up is probably not going to be a thing for me. I found that I'm strongest at like improvising. Kind of going back to the Ryan Reynolds of it all. Like I did take some comedy classes at Emerson. I did take some private acting lessons as well too. So I've dabbled in that world. I don't think stand-up is for me. It's definitely not my strong suit. If anything, it'll be more of an improv.
So you would do what, like a Second City?
No, but my girlfriend actually has done UCB and Ground Lanes, so I'm kind of getting her feedback on that as well. And so she's also in the entertainment industry. You know, she's done some like stand-up mics or open mics, improv as well, obviously. So I'm looking into it. Yes.
$100,000. How much of it was taxed?
Oh God, 30%.
Oh.
I know. That's you know what? Yeah. Why does nobody talk about this? Everybody talks about all these big numbers. Nobody wants to talk about the taxes, though. I actually just saw, and I'm so glad he did this. Paul Walter Hauser, he's a good friend of mine. He was doing an interview where he was talking about what he made too, and he's talking about everything that comes out. You know, 5% lawyer, 10% agent, 10% manager, and I'm like, yeah, nobody talks about these. They see the $500,000 contract. Oh, phenomenal. It's like, yeah, but I saw half of that. You know, it's like, come on, realistically.
And he was also still careful in the sense of like, yeah, he may have seen 130,000 at the end of it, which, okay, still quite a bit of money, but not as much as people would have thought based on what that initial number was.
Exactly.
Did you meet him because of the show, and then you guys kind of got into similar circles?
Yeah, he was actually so generous in this, and I'm so glad he did this because I'm a huge sports fan. I got to the ESPYs in 2023 because of him. He had an extra invite, and so he sent that my way, and then we started hanging out. He actually does a lot of charitable work with Serve LA, so he got me connected with them. So I started doing stuff with them, donating to their charity. So I wouldn't say our circle is mixed because he's definitely an actor, whereas I'm more in like the... God, I hate saying the reality TV world because technically that is what it is, but it's more of like the unscripted world, I guess.
I want to really kind of press that a bit more, is I don't know if people really recognize how much scalpel-like precision that went into the show. If people who have not yet seen it, you should watch it. It's a crazy, crazy show where, especially eventually the aftermath of it, where they do give you behind the scenes, you know, literally behind the curtain, they show you where some of the hidden cameras were because, yes, you did know that it was like a documentary and there's a camera literally around you, so you're aware of that, but you weren't aware of some of the other cameras, right?
Oh, yeah. I was aware of 4 cameras in total.
And then also the other potential options or scenarios that they had to carefully piece together in case you would do this or that, or just the amount of improv that was required from these incredible actors.
Yeah, and again, props to the actors. Like, and I can't say that enough. The job that they did was phenomenal because, like James said, high wire act. You know, if somebody. So this was something that I actually appreciated. They told me real things about themselves because they couldn't afford to get caught up in a lie. So if someone's going to create a backstory that they have a fake brother and then they slip up and forget, but then I remember, again, the whole thing is ruined. So they told me real stories about themselves, their past, their childhood. Maybe a name or a location was changed to make it make sense. But like I learned real things about these people simply because they couldn't afford to lie and then forget the lie.
What I thought was interesting, you mentioned that there were 2 realities to choose from.
When you step into this world that they've created, for the first 2 days, nothing happens. It's typical. It's boring. Like, that's when I met James, and we hung out in there all day, and like the food truck incident happened. Like, the biggest thing that happened was the judge cutting his hand, but we didn't even know what had happened. We just saw him walking through, and he's got blood on his hand. It was like, oh, wow. So for the first 2 days, that was like the biggest thing that happened. And so why would you not have any reason to believe that this is real? Like, there's nothing that's setting off any alarm flags. Like, this is pretty standard, normal stuff. Like, this all seems real. So once you get into that world and you're believing these things, then when crazy things start to happen, yeah, you're left with 2 choices. You say, do I take a step back from this and do I say that this is absolutely all fake and this is all for me and everyone's an actor and there's hidden cameras everywhere and this is a multi-million-dollar production for some random guy from San Diego? Or do you just think, I'm just surrounded by some characters right now. These people are a little bit weird. So it makes the most sense to take the path of least resistance and just say, I'm just surrounded by some characters here. Because in what world, at this point, nobody had ever been Truman Showed before, like in real life. I was the first person. There was the Joe Schmo show, I get it, but those people agreed to be on reality TV. I thought I was participating in a documentary, very low budget. So I got Truman Showed, and who thought that that would ever actually happen in real life?
They're talking about doing a season 3.
Confirmed, yeah. It's happening. It's happening, people. So be on the lookout.
Right, exactly. So it's one of those things where eventually Sacha Baron Cohen, who's an incredible actor and improviser, is doing like Borat and Bruno and Ali G, and then eventually he had to kind of tone that down or go into extremely different
This
locations.
Is America. I don't know if you saw that.
I did. Yeah, that was great. And exactly, take on different personas. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's going to be similar Like they're gonna do this like in Alaska or
Yeah, something like that.
right, Antarctica.
People who worked on those Borat movies, who worked with Sasha, are on jury duty. The field producers, Alexis and Jordan, they worked with Sasha. The executive producer, Nicholas Hatton, worked with Sasha. The director of photography, Chris Darnell, worked with Sasha. Like, these are all people that had that experience, and that's why I tell people these are professionals at the highest level who pulled this off. Like, they got Sasha in through, like, the Secret Service when he interviewed, I think it was, like, Rudy Giuliani or somebody like that. It's like they fooled people at the highest level, and those are the people that did jury duty, and then they followed it up with Company Retreat.
They'd put you in these hero-like situations and see how, not to test you, because they already had a feeling of who you were, but they'd put you in these scenarios and you'd always come through, which was also made you that much more likable as a character and as a human. Was there ever a scenario where you almost did that to James offset, where you kind of put him in a situation that was a bit kind of calculated to see how he would do?
I'm so glad that you asked that, because yes, the day that he flipped the cake, actually. So the day that he flipped the cake was that was my breaking point. I was like, this is literally a toddler in a man's body. I was like, I can't be around this guy. So when he came back, I don't think they included this in the edit, but he was making it a point to go around to everybody that was there when he had his freak out and apologize to them individually. And I could see him doing it. So as he was getting ready to come over to me, I made it a point to walk away from the group. I struck up a conversation with somebody who was far away from everybody else, because I wanted to see if James was going to actually come up, pull me aside, and apologize to me, or if he was just going to kind of let it slide and pass me on. But he did, though. To his credit, he came up to me. He's like, hey, could I stick around for a little bit? So sorry to interrupt. And then he pulled me aside and apologized. And that's when I was like, damn it, there's our, back and forth. Because 5 minutes ago, I was ready to be done with this guy. But then he did exactly what I was hoping he would do. So he passed the test.
That's kind of just a testament to his read on the situation and just as a human, right? Because he kind of still has to play this character, which is beyond an exaggerated version of who he actually is, but still be human.
Oh, yeah.
Right, because you can't completely, unless you go completely method, like a Daniel Day-Lewis, you
Yeah.
can't completely just disconnect, especially with the format of the show. They don't want to, give you brain damage after you realize what happened when they reveal, because it's going to be that much more to process.
Exactly. Jury Duty obviously did not make James's career. He's super famous before, but it feels like he got a lot busier after the success of Jury Duty. So it's definitely been harder to track him down. So for example, there's times when I've reached out to him and he's literally on the other side of the world. So I don't hear back from him until like 3 o'clock in the morning when he's getting up or whatever.
Just a hello.
I don't know if he's going to answer though.
It's okay. No. I'm not putting you out here. If he doesn't, it's okay. We'll still use this footage. We'll use all of it.
All right, moment of truth.
Put it near the...
Make sure I don't have his number showing.
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, I know. I thought about that.
Your call has been...
It's okay. I think a lot of people also found funny from the show, which even the actual cast didn't see, was the animated thing on the tablet, where it was totally nothing about that worked. It was like totally, it was just kind of breaking, right? What was it supposed to do? Like reenactment of someone walking?
It was their side of the story, I guess, if you will. And what's so funny is that, Evan Williams played Sean Sanders, the attorney who couldn't get it right. And Evan is so talented, funny, and smart. Love that guy. But he set it up to be like that, too. He foreshadowed it, and I kind of picked up on it. But he's like, don't worry. My nephew's going to have this great video made for you guys. It's going to be great. And as soon as he said his nephew, I'm just like, I don't think that this is going to be good, because everything that we had seen from him so far was not really the strongest. So I was like, and you're having your nephew make this video for you? I was like, I don't think it's going to go well.
Did you ask if certain things made a final cut? Like just in terms of you remembering certain scenarios that you were in, whether or not, it was being filmed, or if there were hidden cameras somewhere where you're like, guys, was this in there? Was that in there? Or was something I should know that was that was in?
I didn't look back, and I wasn't embarrassed about anything that I did. Part of that reason too was because people really only saw one side of me. I was under the impression that this was supposed to be an informational, educational, professional thing. So I was trying to be professional. When you see me curse on that show, it's always from a hidden camera. That's why when I know there's a camera on me, I'm saying things like, Todd is an interesting individual. Whereas when I don't know I'm being filmed, I'm like, no, I don't want to fucking do that. So it's
Yeah.
like I was never really aware of when I was being filmed, except for when I saw the camera. So I was always trying to be as professional as I could. So I wasn't really embarrassed by anything I did because that was professional of me. I wasn't really cutting loose and having fun and being silly. I was trying to be professional and give them decent footage.
When you watch the second season, Anthony, we were like, look at the way he reacted there, or I wonder if I reacted similarly, or if because in a sense, you're characters, but you're playing yourselves. So did you do any of that comparison or not so much?
I try not to compare. I try to be happy with my lot in life at all times. And it's very hard to compare apples to oranges. Company Retreat and Jury Duty are two completely different shows. Same premise, same ultimate goal, completely different environments. The characters are able to act different because of the scenario and the environment that they've created. Like, it's a totally different show. My experience overall, boring. People falling asleep in the courtroom. Anthony's experience, you got to have fun and play games. Like, there's stark differences, So to compare wouldn't even be fair.
You guys were thrown in different situations. So it's like almost different movies, but under the same banner.
That's a good way to look at it.
I like when Sia put him in like a wig. he was just leaning into it, and he's like in front of the mirror, just kind of looking at himself, and he's like got a hat on. He's doing all these different things. He just gets very into it. So I don't know if you guys still or just kind of more casually say what's up or check on each other.
We have a good relationship, Anthony and I. I mean, I talked to him. What are we at? Today's Friday. I think I talked to him on like Monday or Tuesday. So I'm like, the line of communication is always open. He knows he can reach me anytime he wants, text, call, like I'll get back to him as soon as I can. So we're definitely friendly. And I will say this, I love the way that Anthony reacted in the scenarios they put him in, especially the Sia moment. Because just like when I was reading lines with James, I didn't know how into it he wanted me to get, just like I'm sure he didn't know how into it Sia wanted him to get. So you just kind of feed into it, and you're just like, okay, I'm just kind of trying to be helpful here,
You're on the couch, and James is kind of reading the lines, and and then he's like directing you.
Yeah, well, having never read for people before to do auditions, like I was monotone and flat because I thought the focus was supposed to be on him, but then he told me like, oh, it's actually helpful if you're a little bit more in character.
But it worked. It worked. The best comedy is when someone isn't trying to be funny. And you still have some people, I think, kind of miss the mark on that. If someone's, let's say, a comedian, and they realize when they laugh at their own joke, the audience laughs. And they're like, oh, okay. And they continue to do it, the audience stops laughing. It's not funny anymore. And so I think what you just mentioned, you're like, oh, well, I didn't know, but you shouldn't have known. But that also is what made it just organic and funny.
I want to get into animation. So we actually worked, and I'm so upset that we got turned down on this one, but we worked for over a year on an animated show. It was essentially going to be like a Bob's Burgers, but on the construction site, because it was going to be about like my past construction career coming up, because I did that for 13 years prior to being on jury duty. So we were going to try to get something like that. We had everything lined up. We got turned down for that, unfortunately, so I'm still trying to make something like in that realm happen. I'm doing a passion project about my dog. It's going to be an animated show about my corgi. So I'm working on that.
Welcome to Hollywood, man.
I know. It's fun.
You get kind of raised up a little bit, rightfully, when you're good at what you do, and then also kind of kicked in the stomach a bit, right? Because in the sense of rejection, which is a normal part of not just life, but it becomes that much more emphasized almost, where if you're really, and you should be passionate about something and you're presenting it, you want to go off of some of the momentum, and then it's like, we don't think this is the right fit, or it's not what we're looking for right now, or we don't have the time slot for it or the budget. It's like, man, I thought things were going, it's just weird.
Yeah.
It's almost like a weird stop and go, but it also, I think, reminds people to be humble and to kind of appreciate both sides of it. It's not always going to be just success. There's going to be certain moments. How are you with that? Like when you found out, like, oh, we're not going to go for it right now.
It was a little disappointing, but I will say this. When I moved to San Diego, I got into solar, and I highly recommend this. I highly recommend this to everyone. Door knock for a month or two. Go try to sell stuff door to door. You will get rejected so many times. It will make you a better person. It will make you stronger. It'll make your skin thicker. And kind of to your point, you'll get 1,000 no's, and then you'll get that one yes, But it's worth it to get that one. And so I door knocked for a while when I was doing solar. And so I got very used to rejection. So as disappointing as it was that we weren't able to continue that momentum and get my show going, it's like I'm not going to give up just because it didn't work out just this one time.
I think a lot of people will almost overly block it out in order to kind of continue life, where I don't think you should dwell on anything, successes, or if you want to call it learnings or failures or rejection, because it's not healthy either way. But it's good to reflect and be like, okay, cool, that was a success. Okay, that didn't work out, whether it's in part just because of the timing, or they didn't enjoy the pitch, or they liked the pitch, but they didn't have the money, whatever it is. But then just to almost reflect on it. So maybe there's a takeaway where you're like, okay, well, maybe I'll pivot here, or maybe I'll go back to that in 2 months and I'll start this type of business, whatever it is. But either being delusional or in part denying something can kind of put someone in just an unproductive loop.
I don't think anything is a mistake unless you're not taking anything away from it. Just like you said, you need to reflect on what's happened. And so, like, if you do something that maybe you're not so proud of, but you've learned from that and you've never done that again, I wouldn't call that a mistake. That was a learning moment for you. But if you do something that you just completely mess something up and then you don't take anything from it and then you continue repeating that pattern, those are mistakes. You're not reflecting. You're not learning anything. So kind of like what you said, you need to sit back, reflect on it, take what you can from it, either move this way, that way, forward, backwards, left, right, whatever you need to do, but you have to learn from it.
There's a certain ego that's just associated with life.
Oh,
where
the ego, man.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. If you kind of feel like shit in a situation, you don't want to drag that on to another scenario because people can smell that shit. So,
Fair.
So some people try to avoid it too much, but there's a happy kind of spot to be in where you're confident to the point where you can take a few jabs and uppercuts and still be standing.
I think I was very fortunate that I entered the trades at a young age, because I got into construction when I was 17, so this was 2010. Yeah, I think it was 2009, 2010. And so the men that I were learning from were, crude, brass. They didn't have time to worry about your feelings. Like, they didn't care if they felt like they were being rude to you. Like, you had to learn quick. They weren't going to baby you. They weren't going to hold your hands. So I feel like I got thick skin kind of at a very young age. And then you also learn too to just not take offense to so many things. Like, if somebody's barking orders at you and they do it in a mean tone, they're not necessarily yelling at you. It's like, we don't have time. You got to move. We're holding this heavy piece of equipment up here. This could drop at any time. Like, we got to move. Like, we don't have time to dilly-dally. So I feel like I was introduced to that world at a young age, and so it just makes it easier to just kind of let things roll off your back. Just be more easygoing. Don't take things so personal. Like, somebody said something you don't like, get over it.
Situational awareness, not a lot of people have that, and I feel like if you kind of tap into that a bit more, life just becomes so much easier.
I completely agree with you on that, because it's people. I had to learn this too, because when I was younger, I would get so mad at people, and like I've gotten in many fistfights before over dumb things that could have been avoided had I just given the other person the benefit of the doubt. Just like you said, I wasn't situationally aware of the fact that maybe they did just lose a loved one. Maybe they're having a bad day, week, a bad month. Maybe things are just absolutely going wrong in there. Just give them some grace. Give them the benefit of the doubt. I didn't do that when I was younger. And so now that's what I've tried to do. And that's exactly how I was trying to lead by example on jury duty. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Say, you're acting kind of strange. Maybe this is just who you are. I had to get stitches in my eye. I got in a bar fight in South Dakota. It was over a game of pool. It was like we were up next. We got into a petty argument. Somebody said something. One thing led to the other. People start pushing, shoving, and then it just turns into a fight. But again, if we would have just pumped the brakes, just been like, hey, you guys can play, not that big of a deal. Those types of things can be resolved. But like I said, when I was younger, hot-headed, quick to anger, I wasn't situationally aware.
Do you remember what was said that?
Not at all. No, this was back in, I was like 23.
Season 3, you should be like an executive producer.
We kind of discussed that for season 2, but they've got things pretty tight, if you will. Because they've got their set crew that they're bringing back and working with. And again, I don't really know what it's like in Hollywood in terms of like the hierarchy of, a PA, a producer, an executive producer. I know that people are very proud of their titles, so I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes and take a position that I haven't rightfully earned. I did give this advice to Anthony, not that I was worried about this happening, because he is a good guy. It seems like he has a good head on his shoulders. But when, kind of like what you said, when you get the overnight fame and once you have all of this attention on you, it's very easy to let that go to your head. So that was my biggest warning to him. It was like, just remember who you are, remember where you came from, stay humble. No matter what happens, even if you guys win all the awards and the show does absolutely great, like, you got to stay humble.